live.
Excellent. Hello, everybody. Simon Dixon here, and welcome to episode 76 of Bank to the Future Live. Bank to the Future Live is where we have a show just for our investor community that are building portfolios in the future of finance. And today we've got another interview with a new deal that's gone live on the platform. We've got the founder of Amon, and I'll just make a few announcements first, and then we'll go straight into that interview to let us know what they're up to and now that they're live on Bank to the Future. Just before we do that, please do like this video. Please do share this video. Help us reach more in our investor community so that more people can understand the different types of opportunities that are happening at Bank to the Future. And if you subscribe, then we'll make sure that you get YouTube will send you notifications each and every time we go live. If you didn't know, a couple of releases that we had on the Bank to the Future platform in the last week or so, you can now deposit Ethereum and Bitcoin to the platform. But prior to this, we always had it where you just invest directly in the pitches and you would make a payment directly into the pitches. You can now save fees and deposit funds to the your BF, go to the fund section of your account at Bank to the Future. We've integrated a few more stable coins as well. That's become hugely popular. Really, we used to do 80% of all the fiat, payments would have been done in fiat. Now, really, approximately 80% of them are done in stable coins. So what a shift we've had over the last decade. We just released TUSD, TrueUSD, which is a stable coin backed by a trust structure, and First Digital Trust is the company that does the trust custody part of that, who's also live on Bank to the Future at the moment. So you can now deposit TUSD on top of the usual payment methods like card and USDT, bank wire, but you can also make ETH and BTC deposits to your account rather than just investing them directly in the pitch. So that's all the announcements that we got for you. For now, we're actually going to turn over to the Amon team. So why don't you give a quick intro to yourself and share us a bit about how you got into how you got into Amon and how it all started.
Hi, Simon. Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me. So yeah, my name is Daniel. I'm the CEO and one of the co-founders of Amon. So how we started the project. So we started this project was actually we have to go back in July 2017, when we started to think of how we could help users to use cryptocurrencies more into the daily life. So we thought that at the moment users are using crypto mainly as investment, which is still the same basically. Also today's the trend is still the same, but what we wanted to do is to help users to have a way to understand crypto better. So what we started to develop is a wallet which is connected to what we call now an investment assistant, which would support the users' decisions into their investment and also into their spending. So we started first to have the idea of having this clever card, right? So a card which could be supported by an investment assistant, and then we started to develop our wallet. So in 2018, then we launched the ICO. We raised around about $1.5 million. It was the time where actually crypto were going down, not up, unfortunately. But what we did, we started piece by piece developing the wallet. And at the moment, we have a wallet which has 8 cryptos, so you can deposit 8 cryptocurrencies. We integrated the virtual IBAN, so any users can deposit and withdraw euro and also pounds. US will be next, very likely next year. We integrated what we call a one-click exchange, so we are connected with different exchanges, so users can exchange with a one click between crypto and crypto or crypto to fiat. We have then integrated in June 2019, so more than a year and a half ago, the Celsius product, which is the investment product of, we call it Amon Earn. It's basically where it's a kind of saving account. You just deposit your crypto and you get passive interest. And this year, we finally got the approval of the card from UnionPay International. We probably can go later through why we chose UnionPay International with our card issuer. Yeah, so we are still developing. We haven't released yet anything about the investment assistant, which is basically a tool to support users to understand better crypto and take their investment. So if we want to bring into the crypto space the next millions and billions of people, we need to help them. If there's still people that are telling me, I can't afford one Bitcoin because it's now 15,000, and then you have to explain them that they can buy a fraction of Bitcoin, means that we probably have to help them better to understand what's the space. So this is what we are trying to achieve also with our wallet. So something very simple, easy to understand, which can bring the next millions of users into crypto space.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I can't tell you how many times we as crypto people, we just forget what people don't know. The amount of people that believe you have to buy a whole Bitcoin for over $15,000, and people's, they can't afford it, so they end up buying something else that they think they can afford, when really it's just a complete wrong way of looking about it. So yeah, the educational piece, and it is a danger. I think we all start our journey thinking, okay, we're going to make this easier, but then we just forget how much people don't know, and the path and education that we had to go through to get to where we are. So I think that's a really important piece. But let's dig a little bit deeper into something I think is a real big deal, and that is the UnionPay part. So most people in the West would be very familiar with Visa and MasterCard, but it wasn't until I moved to Hong Kong when I realized the scale and size of UnionPay. And so really, it's probably fair to say that UnionPay is the Visa and MasterCard of Asia, but it's also making, getting a lot more global reach as well. When I first moved to Hong Kong, there was a Bitcoin debit card from a local company in Hong Kong called ANX. And they were using it. They were using it with an integration with UnionPay, and they eventually that got taken away. But for my first year in Hong Kong, that was how I used it. I was completely outside of the banking system, using a Bitcoin debit card and integrated to a UnionPay card. And it was just a really great way of transacting in Hong Kong dollars when I was living in Hong Kong. But help us understand then about this UnionPay. I'm not sure exactly how you describe it, but you've been approved by UnionPay in order to issue debit cards, and they can be topped up with crypto. Help us understand a bit more about that process, how hard it was, and what the end result is now.
Yeah. Let me walk you through the process of the cards. That anybody that has been in crypto for some time, they know how hard it is to get an approval like this. We started our journey as probably most of the wallets or crypto companies, that they wanted a card, trying to get cards from Visa or MasterCard, until we realized that it was basically quite hard, to get one card from them. So luckily in 2019, so we have tried to get a Visa card basically for all the 2018, but it was actually the time where, if you remember, Visa basically shut down Wavecrest at the time, and it was basically a no-go for Visa, and MasterCard actually was never favorable for crypto cards. I think now they are approaching to crypto cards, but before MasterCard was also a no. So in 2019, then we had an investment from a bank which is called MKB Bank. It's one of the largest Hungarian bank, and we had the luck through them to get to know UnionPay, which has one headquarter in Hungary, in Budapest, and we had the chance to meet some of their directors. And it's there when we basically start to realize that UnionPay is also So that the coverage of the card UnionPay is also quite strong, also already in Europe, and it has some advantages that we really liked, and we said let's go for UnionPay then. So one of the advantages is basically you can issue cards with the same issuer even in different continents. So if tomorrow we want to go to US, for us it would be easier because we can do this with the same issuer that we have now. So the structure of the cards issuing is always the same of Visa or MasterCard. So we basically have three partners. So one is the card issuer, which is all about compliance and risk management, which is based in the UK. We have then another provider, which is the provider which allow us to have all the IT integration. So it's called the processor. And then we have the card distributor or the card manufacturer, so the provider that prints out the card and then distribute it. So the process is basically always the same. Since we don't have a direct relationship with UnionPay, we are not the principal members, we need to use third parties at the moment. Once we will have an e-money license, we can go directly to UnionPay and apply for a principal membership, which is something feasible, which we already talked about with them in the past. And then we will be able to issue cards directly. But at the moment, our construct is this one. We have three interfaces basically, which is also helping us, to get into this business, which is also new for everyone. There are much more compliance processes with the card which is connected to a crypto wallet rather than a regular card. So when we then in 2019 we started the relationship with UnionPay, we started all the regular process. It took us probably it was 8 to 10 months just to get the okay. There are still some restrictions around there. We had to create two entities, one which is related to fiat, because the card that we're going to release is a multi-currency card. So users will be able to spend it with euro and pounds, but of course it's connected to crypto wallet. So if you want, so the card does not need to be topped up. As long as you have funds in your euro or pounds wallet, you're fine. So what do you have to do if you want to spend in crypto? You basically have to convert it to euro or pounds. But once you have euro and pounds, you can just spend it. So there's no need to top up. This was one of the important point for us, that we fight for, saying we don't want users to top up. This is not a prepaid, it's a debit. So the people should be able just to go and spend it directly. Then here we are. Then we got to this point. We basically went through all the compliance processes. Now we had the final approval with the BIN number. We are just basically finalizing this fundraising to then release the cards into 31 European countries. So our first step is Europe. But as I said before, our goal is to go global. So we will identify new places, and we will have an easier path, because with the same issuer we can issue cards also somewhere else. While for Visa or MasterCard, you need a new issuer for every place you go. If you go to US, you need a new issuer, basically. But with UnionPay, it's likely easier.
I see. Okay. So that's the story. So did you say you will be applying for an e-money license? Is that something you've got in the roadmap, or?
Correct. Yeah. This is of course one of the most important steps. I think that we have to do things step by step. At the moment, I would say we are in a learning phase. Okay, we are learning the risks connected to this business, to the cards. Because the problem is that crypto is like cash. Once you have somebody that is withdrawing the crypto from your wallet, it's very hard to understand where he's going with these cryptos. So there is a component of risk which is higher to have cryptos into the wallet and allow a card, with the cryptos. So that's why there is a lot of concern about this with all the issuers. And we have put in place several measures to risk assess our users. And for us, it's also a way to learn, how the users are behaving. And once we have completed this learning, is of course in our roadmap to get an e-money license, to have a direct relationship just with UnionPay and be able to issue cards on our own without intermediation, basically, which also costs fees. And that's also so the first step is the compliance. Then it will become a matter also of fees, basically, so that we can save.
Sure. Okay. So you said there's a couple of entities within the group. So when investors are investing through Bank to the Future, they invest into a special company that we set up just to hold the shares. We go on the register, our entity as the investor, so that we can pull together the different investors invest through the platform. But is it a parent company, or is there different entities? Could you help us understand the organizational structure?
So at the moment it's quite straightforward. So we have Amon Card Limited, which is the holding, which is the UK company. And then we have the Estonian entity, which is for us our crypto-related entity, where we have also 2 licenses where we can hold the crypto funds of the users, and we can also exchange crypto to crypto, crypto to fiat. We have 2 licenses for this. So the Estonian company is a subsidiary of the UK company, and whenever users invest into the holding, which holds 100% the subsidiary. So it's a quite straightforward.
Okay, so investors can look up the UK company on Companies House as usual, and that is not a regulated, but it might be applying for an e-money license in the future with the FCA. Is that the goal, or?
At the moment, what we are doing is, first of all, the first step is to apply for a crypto assets application. It's something we are completing right now.
That's for the UK entity?
For the UK entity.
Okay, yeah.
Although we have already crypto licenses in Estonia, we also want to inform the FCA that we are a crypto company. We want to be regulated for cryptos. It's something, of course, new. Everything in crypto is all the regulations around that is quite new. And in the UK, you basically needs to be registered within the 10th of January of 2021. So we are completing basically the application. At the moment, our wallet is running with our subsidiary, because that's company which is regulated for cryptos. But yeah, in our plan is basically to switch then everything on the holding. But this structure is also important for us for the card release, because one of the requirements of UnionPay is that we have entities separated for crypto and fiat. So we will keep the UK company as a more fiat regulated, as a more fiat entity, and the Estonian as more crypto. Despite this, we want to be in compliance with the crypto regulations in the UK and in Estonia, so we will still apply for the crypto assets application regulations in the UK.
Okay, great. So we got a wallet, we got a debit card, we got the different entities that fulfill the different obligations with a roadmap for the regulatory roadmap on those. You also talked about Amon investment assistance. So could you help us understand a bit about how that works?
Yeah. So what we are building here is an investment assistant which is based on 2 pillars. We call it pillars. So the first pillar is a statistical tool. It basically tells you what have been the trends, what are the patterns about the cryptos that you have in your portfolio. I think this is a first step for anybody that is entering in crypto to understand what's going on, right? Because sometimes even if you think about it, if you want to compare the volatility, let's say, of Bitcoin and Ether in the past 3 weeks, you probably wouldn't know it. Even for people that look at the price and every day, you probably don't have much of a clue what have been the volatility or the trends of BTC compared to some other token or to Litecoin, for example, in the past 6 months. So what we want to provide here is just some statistical info and analysis where you can compare the different trends. Okay, so this is a first pillar. The second one is something which studies and analyze your specific portfolio. So what is happening is basically a lot of people, they just invest in some cryptos. They don't know what's their risk level. There is of course crypto in general is a risky investment, but if you invest in Bitcoins, it's much less risky than probably if you invest in Bitcoin Cash, simply because maybe Bitcoin Cash is much more volatile, for example, or in the past year, it went up and down much more than Bitcoin. So what we are creating here is a portfolio analysis tool, which gives you a kind of risk score. And based on this information, you can decide, then you can say, okay, I probably better sell off some of these assets and buy some more stable coins so that my risk level is a bit more appropriate, to what is my appetite, basically. So it's basically a tool where you'll be able to look at the analysis. You'll be able to look at your portfolio risk and say, okay, I want to invest a bit more into this so that my risk level here is a bit lower or is a bit higher. And then you can take your own decisions, of course. I mean, we will not suggest users what they have to do. It's going to be basically impossible, frankly, to tell the people what they have to do. But definitely we can give them some guidance, which is something which is totally missing in the market. Okay, so it's really important to bring the next users into the crypto space.
Great. Okay. So then other parts of the business, you've done an integration with one of our other portfolio companies, Celsius, who obviously does a lot of lending and interest paying in the crypto market. So to walk us through a bit about the partnership with Celsius, how that came about and what it means to your customers.
So yeah, we got in touch with Celsius. It was June 2019. And it was really the beginning also when they started, to create this API system where where they basically share their product with other wallets. We thought it was a great product also for our users, because once you have a card, you probably want to have a place also where you store your crypto, and maybe you want to earn some interest. Okay, so we want to create a place where you can either spend your assets, but you can also hold them and earn interest. So the Celsius product came along really in a perfect timing, because we just integrated. It's very easy integration. It's like a saving account. You just move your funds from our main wallet to the Earn product. We call it Amon Earn. And basically, once it hits the Amon Earn wallet, you just start earning interest. And as Celsius does, every Monday, we just release the interest into the wallet. And this is, I think, is a great thing for us, because a lot of people are still using crypto as investment, so they want to earn, eventually also some passive interest out of the crypto. So once we will be launching the card, you'll be able to spend euro, pounds, or just your crypto if you want, or if you just use it as investment, you basically just deposit into our crypto Amon Earn, and you will just earn passive interest. And ideally, one of the things that also Celsius always liked, it was like live off of your own interest. For somebody that has quite a lot of funds, you can basically deposit your crypto, earn interest, and then spend this interest with the card. Eventually, of course, live off of your interest is a quite big thing, in the sense that you need to have quite a lot of funds, to then afford to live out of your interest. But it's something then that will become feasible with our wallet.
Excellent. Okay. And you were one of the first to integrate with the API when it came out.
Correct. Yeah, I think we were one of the first. Indeed, it's been 1.5 years that we have been working with Celsius. Yeah, it's been a great partnership so far. Yeah.
Okay. I think there's a couple. So I've got a couple more questions, but if you're in the audience listening to this, Amon is going to be, Famida's actually on leave at the moment. So Amon from the marketing team is actually stepping in, and he's going to bring up some questions. So I'll get a couple more, but get those questions ready, and then Amon will be able to ask. Amon will ask the Amon team.
Okay.
So you got this concept of Amon Give as well. So you help us understand a bit more about what the Give side is.
Yeah. So one important point is that if you recall a few years ago, crypto projects, they were all about giving or doing something for the community, changing the financial system. They were, at least when I entered in crypto, there was always this concept, of trying to do something for the others, for the community in general. At the moment, it's a lot about making money, so when it goes to the moon, when we make profits, and all this kind of stuff. So what we want to try is to bring back, some of this giving, and do something for the others. So that's why we want to, we're branding ourselves as an ethical fintech. What is this Amon Give? It's basically the possibility for the users to donate part of their cash back. So with the card, you will have access to a cashback. So for every investor that is investing in Bank to the Future, we will give some incentive as a card cashback. We will release it, but yeah, for the first 15, anybody that invests in the first 15 days, we will give 5% cashback on the card when we release the card in their jurisdiction. And what is Amon Give is the possibility to give all of your cashback or part of your cashback to some charity organization. We have already talked with a few ones. They accept also crypto. What we're trying to do here is to say you can donate part of your cashback if you want. So it's a way, to give back, something to the community, things that values that at the moment I think are a bit lost, into all this making profits thing, about all the tokens to go to the moon and all this kind of stuff, right? So we're trying to do something also for the others, and we will do this with what we call Amon Give.
Sure, yeah. And if you're doing your crypto taxes properly, there's probably tax incentives to structure in that way. Can't give tax advice or financial advice, but if you speak to your tax advisor, it might turn out that giving and contributing is actually part of a win-win tax strategy. And if Amon is actually enabling that in an easier way, so that might be an interesting use case that comes as well. In terms of your investors, you actually managed to get a bank, MKB Bank, one of the largest banks in Hungary, I think you describe it as. I think it was Digital Magic was your other lead investor. Help us understand how that came about and what it was like trying to get a bank to actually invest in your company.
Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, actually, so our first investor was MKB after the ICO. MKB, they have a program which is sort of an acceleration program, basically, where they got to know us better. During this period, what we did is basically try to let them understand what's the value of digital assets or digital currencies. So it's still a very traditional bank. Okay, it's an institutional bank in Hungary. So they have this investment arm, and they invested with this investment arm. They helped us a lot in different things. As I said before in the introduction with UnionPay, in different compliance processes. We are always in touch with them for all the matters related to risk management. Of course, it was not easy, to infuse them and let them understand, what is this market about? Yeah. They're still, very skeptical on certain points, but they have a great team, frankly. They have a great team and a very young team, and they understood, about the potential of the market. And of course, they trust on our team. We have been there for more or less 4 months. We moved all of our team basically there in 2019 so that they could understand a little bit better also our point of view and get to know us better. And yeah, and they finally, then they decided to invest. It was then in August 2019. So we're very happy to have them on board. And we're very happy also that we have managed, to convince a bank, and an institutional player to come into crypto space, basically. And regarding Digital Magic is a VC, is listed on the Italian Stock Exchange, and is an investor which is also joining this round. Also them, so they invest mainly in fintechs. Also for them, we are one of the first crypto investment that they did. I would say with them was a bit easier than with the bank. Because they, as a VC, they are always looking to invest into innovative projects, into new things, right? Also with them, they are great. That we have a great relationship with them. They help us, on a different things. We started the relationship with them this year, so it was at the beginning of 2020. Then they made a small investment, and now they're making a bigger investment now. So yeah, we're very happy to have both of them into our cap table. They help us into different aspects of the business, and most of the things into the compliance part, which is important for both of them. One, because it's a bank, so it's an institutional bank, and another one is also because it's listed on a stock exchange. So they help us a lot on the compliance side.
Okay, great. So before we take our investor community's question, I've got one more, and that is on the competition side. So just looking at our own portfolio companies at Bank to the Future, I think we got one of the seed rounds we did was Wirex. And in the pitch, you talk about how, well, I do remember when we did the Wirex seed round, the valuation increase that the company has experienced at its stage right now, compared to when we did the early round. They got a Bitcoin debit card or a crypto debit card. We got Uphold, BitPay, Coinbase, all have their crypto debit cards. So help us understand a bit about how you compete and what you think the key differences are.
Yeah. So yeah, a lot of people, they ask us about the competition. I frankly believe that I would say, thanks God, we have these players and these competitors, because if we have competitors, means that there is market. Okay. So for us, the point is, so we don't see these players as competitors. We see them as a gate opener. So if you think Wirex is just opening gates, basically. Here, the questions we probably need to answer is, how are we going to serve the next 20, 50 million users that are coming the next year into crypto space? Or when PayPal is now is going to bring another 300 million users, how are we going to serve these users? And of course, one player cannot just serve all of them. So that's why there is Wirex, but there will be many other players. We see it, we have showed it a little bit on the pitch deck, some of the statistics, from Statista 2020. Crypto users grew from 2016 around about 5 million, 2020 around about 55 million. Okay, so there is a tremendous growth of users, and that's what it matters for us. It's the market which is there, and we have to go and take it. And we also have to remind that there's been a lot of companies trying to get an approval like we did, and they didn't make it, for different reasons, probably for compliance or for organization, or because we're not backed by by someone like a bank. But that's also an important thing, right? So we are in a spot where it's very hard for somebody else now to come, or they will need probably another 12 months of time of compliance processes, to step in. So there is a big barrier of entrance for anybody that wants to come in. And the big players that we see in the market, for us, is more gate openers. Yeah. If you see Wirex evaluation now, they also made a crowdfunding, so they made a fundraising, and it was evaluated at the moment was 126 million pounds. So you see the big difference between our evaluation, their evaluation, but that's our perspective basically, right? So how much we can basically grow in the next few years. So I think so in a one sentence for us, the point is not how many players there are in the market, it's how big is the market, how fast it's growing, and that's where we wanna be.
Yeah. And what's the valuation for this round?
So it's a is pre-money is 3.5 million USD.
Okay, so 3.5 million USD. So this really is at the ground. I can't quite remember, so you can go and fact check me, but similar to what I think we did when we did the early Wirex round many years back. So that's we like to bring opportunities at the ground, and this is one of those. So, Amon, have we got any questions from the investor community?
Yes, we do have a lot of questions, and we have a lot of activity as well. We have close to 100 live viewers watching this live stream now and excited to learn more. So I think one question which has been asked a couple of times on the chat is, when will these cards be issued?
So we plan to issue in Europe in Q1 2021, so next year. Okay. So for us, the next step, just to be clear, the next step for us is to close the fundraising, and then to finalize all the testing. So we are trying to get some testing cards already now, frankly. Hopefully, we will make it before the end of the round. Once we are done with testing, we can just basically go live. So we plan to have it next year in Q1. So it can be probably January, February, but that's the date.
Okay. And there's a question from Michael. Michael says, at ICO stage, you promoted Amon, saying that the card would automatically work out the best performing crypto in your wallet to use when spending on the card. Is that feature still in place today?
So we haven't planned to release these features right now, mainly because this could make us troubles with in terms of legal or compliance. Okay, because we can't legally suggest you what you basically have to spend. Okay, so this is the legal problem we found with this feature. It's true that was one of our idea. Okay, but at the moment, what we want to do is to go step by step. The first thing is to have a first release of the investment assistant, so that we will release the statistical tool and then the portfolio, and then we will think over on how we can associate this tool to our spending, and make it in a compliant way.
Yeah, one thing I'll add to this, and this is no reflection on Amon, just having been involved with so many different companies in the industry. Whenever a financial technology company plans out their roadmap, 9 times out of 10, there's some kind of compliance thing that adds almost another 6 months to a year to what the original aspiration was. So, I'm not saying that this was going to happen with Amon or Amon, but sorry, how do we say it? Is it Amon or Amon? Am I saying that?
Amon, we generally say Amon,
Amon, okay, yeah, so I'm saying it right in the first place. But yeah, even at Bank to the Future, the amount of milestones that we've set out to achieve. But then when you're dealing with regulations and regulators and legals and compliance, and then the technology, it's there's so many things that can just get in the way of what your original aspiration might have been.
Yeah, it's unfortunately true. And yeah, but yeah, I think it comes with a step by step. Okay, so we have a very good relationship also with our issuer. So it's a matter also of discussing and trying to let them understand, what we're trying to do, because everything that is new for us is much newer for them. So the problem will that they never came across, with a platform like this where you try to do this kind of stuff. So they won't understand what's the risk involved with this. And once they understand that, then they might give you the go. Yeah, but yeah, I think the key especially in crypto space, what we have learned in the past 3 years, that things you have to do it step by step. If you try to do it once and take shortcuts, then it will be shut down. Unfortunately, it's like this.
Yeah.
Okay. So another question, Daniele, can you please explain more about Amon's revenue model? How does Amon make money?
Yeah, this is actually one of the one of the key points, of the company. The revenue model. So we make money on different sources, and this gives us the possibility to provide a better service, maybe on some products which are more caring for users, and make more money on some other products. So let's start generally. We make money from, of course, we have some exchange, so we have an internal app exchange. From this exchange, we make some margins there. Okay, so when you exchange crypto to crypto to fiat, we do have some margins there. On the cards, there is part of profits which we call interchange. It's a small profits, but you still have also their profits. And even if you want to then spend your crypto, also there we have some margins on the exchanges. We make some money from the withdrawals, for example, of crypto. It's a very small profits, but we still have it. We plan to introduce what we call a membership fee, which is basically a fee which will be paying as a user if you don't hold a certain amount of our token into our wallet. And we also have the part of the passive interest from Celsius. Of course, we give away all the interest to the users. 80% is just the same concept that Celsius has. We applied for us, but what Celsius does is give us basically some interest for us as a profit for us, basically, based on the volumes that we have held into their wallets, basically. So there are different parts, source of revenues, and I think this is one of the strengths of the company. What we have to understand, and this is something we will understand once we release also the card, is how users are generally behaving on the wallet. This is something new for us, but for any other company. What we have to understand is what the users do. Do they spend more, or do they spend more in euro, on crypto? Do they make more exchanges? Do they have more money just sitting there and earning interest? So once we understand exactly the behaviors of our users, we will be able to tickle, to tweak, our profits on one or another side to and start to think on profitability. At the moment, it's very hard to think on profitability. At the moment, we have to think on growth, users growth. That's what we have to think for now. But yeah, all this source of revenues makes our work easier, because we can get revenues from different sides and maybe provide better services on the card, which is probably what the users are more interested on, and make more profits on the interest or something else.
And how many users do you have now?
At the moment, we have around about 1,500 users, and we have more or less 700,000 euro asset under management, 750,000 per.
Okay.
So we are reaching almost 1 million asset under management, which are basically funds deposited into our Amon Earn, which is basically funds that we deposit in Celsius to get the interests.
All right. Moving on to the next question. Thanks for the answer, Daniele. So these are two questions. I'm clubbing them together. That is, are the deposits to the Amon wallet insured, and whether Do we have to lock up funds in order to interest earn or not?
No, so okay, so I answered the first part, the second part, which is the locking part. So Amon Earn is just like Celsius, you don't have to lock up anything. You just have to deposit your funds in the Amon wallet, and then you have to move them into the Amon Earn section. So within our wallet, basically, you can move it from the main wallet to the Earn wallet, and there is no locking up period. So you just deposit it. You start automatically to receive interest from the next Monday. And when you want to withdraw, you just withdraw them. Then they will go back to your main wallet. And then from your main wallet, you can just move them out. You can withdraw them to any of your wallet. We use, regarding the funds, we use BitGo. If I'm not wrong, also Celsius uses BitGo. You probably guys know it. It's a SEC-regulated provider. We have been using BitGo now for probably a year and a half. In the same time, we started to integrate Celsius. We also integrated BitGo. BitGo, we know that it's insured. I'll give you just a little bit of a glance of what is happening into the wallet. We have a structure of hot and cold wallets. So every time a user deposits funds, they go into the hot wallet, which are hot wallet of BitGo. And then there are microservices which run every thought seconds, and then they send these funds to the cold wallet. What is happening is just around about 10% of our funds, they stay into the hot wallets to allow users transactions. So when then you want to withdraw, for example, again, we take them from the hot wallet, which is the one that is more exposed to potential hacks, basically. All the rest is kept into cold wallets, which are multi-signature wallets, which are held by me. And we are three founders, me, Chris, which is our CTO, and also my brother, and Jules, which is our also a software engineer. And we have basically multi-signature as three into our cold wallets. So funds are basically, when a deposit, they go into hot wallets, they're moved to cold wallet, and we leave just a small amount in the hot wallet to allow daily operations, basically.
Understood. But that's the security protocol you follow. There's no insurance as such on the funds, right?
No, I mean, the insurance is basically given by BitGo. BitGo is basically insured on the hot wallet, which is the part which is most exposed.
Okay. Wonderful. Thank you. So another question is, how will the funds which will be raised during this fundraise be used, and have the previous funds which were raised during the ICO been utilized already?
Okay, yeah, it's a good question. So I'll start saying how we're going to use the funds now. So of course, our main goal at the moment is to release the Amon card and the Amon investment assistant. So the funds will mainly be used at the first to pay out the last fees of our providers, and then to start, the mechanism of the cards. When you start to release cards, there is quite a lot of commissions you pay to issuer, to processor. You have to manufacture all the cards. These are all funds that, of course, will be taken from the fundraising, and then to keep up the daily operations and the marketing. So in the past 2 years and a half, since the ICO, we never really did marketing campaigns. We never really, so all the users we have, it's all organic users, or some users are still from the ICO. We, of course, need to start our users acquisition, and with the fundraising, that's what we plan to do. Another part of the funds will also go for the investment assistant. We have already worked on this for some time, but what we want to do is also to have a team only dedicated on this product, which will basically improve it. So to improve it and to make it more efficient. So yeah, in short, the funds will be used to release the products and to acquire new users. Is of course one of the rounds that we plan to do. It's not the last one. Very likely will be a much higher evaluations next when we'll be releasing the card. Regarding the ICO, the ICO funds, we went through a lot of troubles, not just us, but a lot of other crypto companies that they wanted a card. So when we started to get into the card issuing, we paid out funds to issuers, which they never delivered them any approval. We got listed on a few exchanges where we paid quite a lot of funds just to get listed. We paid out salaries. Yeah, so, and then there was the crash of the crypto. Okay, so the funds that we basically fundraising during the ICO was mainly spent on developing the wallet that we have now, all the partnership that we have, the virtual IBAN that we integrated, the different cryptos, the issues that we paid, and then they never actually deliver anything, and all the crash. So that's why we started to look for funds again in 2019, and we found the bank. So we made the first raise with the bank. Now we have the approval of the card, and that's why we said, okay, we need to involve more the crypto community, because for us, the investors that we will have now on Bank to the Future will also be users that can use the card, very likely. So that's for us was a great idea, or it came to our mind a fundraising through Bank to the Future, because we said the investor will become also our users, and since we are starting customer acquisition, it's all funds that we are spending for the fundraising, but then we will find basically into also the customer acquisition.
Yeah, just on that actually, I think we haven't actually published this on the pitch yet, but you had an initiative that you wanted to announce around the earlier someone's invest, the more cash back they can get if they actually end up becoming a customer of Amon. Do you want to help us understand
Correct,
that?
Yeah. I would say some words about this. Yeah, it's actually also a compliance thing, since we were talking about compliance before. Also for this, we couldn't put it into the pitch because of legal reasons, but we will provide for the investor that they will invest in the first 15 days of the fundraise, we will provide card cashback of 5%. Okay, so of course, when the card will be released into the jurisdiction, so if you are in Europe, you're very likely to get this card in Q1 next year, and you will get 5% cashback for the 12 months from the time you order the card. Okay, so we have different steps. So if you invest after 15 days, you will get slightly less cash back. But yeah, what we want to do in this initiative is, first of all, to incentive people, to use our product, and also to reward the people that are investing before into our pitch rather than others. Okay, so I think one of the nice thing of the ICO was that you could provide some discounts on your token at the beginning of the ICO. And at the moment, when you fundraise for equities, you don't have this chance, because the people that invest in the 45 days in the last day get the same equities of somebody that invested the day one, right? So what we want to try to do with these incentives is to reward the people that are putting funds available for the company from the day one, rather than wait for another 40 days, basically, right? So we will share anyway, like the picture of how these incentives look like. But what is important to know for now is that if you invest in the next 15 days, we'll provide the card a cashback of 5% when we will release into your country.
Yeah, just putting out some disclaimers. Obviously, you need to qualify for the card. You might come from a jurisdiction that you can't. So there's obviously, don't make that the only reason. But if you have decided to invest already and you do qualify for that, then there'll be an additional incentive the earlier you invest.
Correct. If we don't release the card in the next few months in your country, because maybe you're in the US, for example, we will still keep the reward for when we release the cards in the US. Okay, so of course it's for when we can actually release the cards into your jurisdiction or into your country.
Okay, Amon, I think we've got time for probably one more question, if there is one, or we can wrap it up here.
We do have one question, and just before that, for everybody else, we'll ask the Amon team to post these incentive details on the discussion zone. And also, Daniele, since on the live chat, a lot of users are talking about the cashback. Will this cashback be in the same currency they spend their funds in, or will it be in
Oh,
some
yeah.
other?
Yeah, I think we haven't said it. No, it will be an Amon token. Okay, we have what we call an Amon token. By the way, next week we are going to get listed on a very big exchange. So just yeah, follow us somewhere on Twitter or just join our Telegram. We will make the announcement on which exchange we're going to get listed. At the moment, we are listed on Uniswap. Most of our liquidity is on Uniswap and Banker. But it will be a centralized exchange and one of the major exchanges that we have in the world. So we plan it by next week. Hopefully, there's no delays, but it's basically already agreed. And yeah, the cashback will be in our token. Yeah.
That brings up another interesting point. Does the company that investors will be investing into, does the company hold its own inventory and asset of these tokens, or?
Our token. You're talking about our tokens, right?
Yeah. So does the company hold like? Is it one of the token holders? Is that an asset of the company, or these are completely separate things?
No, we kept during the ICO 30% of the tokens for us as a reserve. Okay.
Okay, and is that owned by the group of companies that investors would be investing into?
Yeah, this is basically the reserve of the company. So yeah, it's the Amon reserve basically. It's the reserve of the company. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, I think that's as much as we can fit into the hour. So thank you, Amon and Aman, for joining us today on this Bank to the Future Live episode 76. So we'll post this on the discussion forum of the Bank to the Future pitch. We'll also include it in on there. So you can check that out on BnkToTheFuture.com. Head over to the Start Investing section. You'll see the deals that are listed there and live at the moment. And this pitch will be one of those, and we'll add that there for anyone that wants to go through that. And if you didn't get your question answered, then you can head over to the forum. You'd have to be a qualifying investor, so sign up for an account. And once you've got an account, you can ask any questions that may have been missed here. And the team will just jump in and answer those questions. So thank you all for joining us. And that's going to do it for episode 76 of Bank to the Future Live. Thanks, everybody.